The blower fan for my AC and heating quit working. Could be any one of a few things. Could be the blower motor went out, the blower motor resistor is bad, could be a fuse, could be a relay, but we'll have to find out, do a little troubleshooting, and check this out, because I need that fan to work. The first thing I checked was the fuses and the relays. In this vehicle, under the hood and to the left is the relay and fuse box that the owner's manual says contains the relays and fuses for the blower fan. It has clips on both sides to release. Pull up on those. Be careful if your engine is hot. If your engine is hot, you might want to wear gloves. And according to the owner's manual, these two fuses are connected to the blower fan. These relays say fan 1, 2, and 3. So first I'm just going to visually check the fuses. That one looks intact, and so does that one. You can also test them with a tester or a multimeter. Sometimes they can look okay, but still not be okay. So I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to use this digital multimeter and put it on the continuity setting right there. And currently it's showing that there's an open circuit because the two probes aren't touching each other or anything else. If the fuse is actually burnt out, then the little piece of metal inside would not conduct electricity. There would be an open, broken circuit. So I put one probe in each side of the fuse, and it does give me a reading, so current is flowing through this fuse. It's a good one. I'm going to check the other one, and I do get a reading on this one too. So both of these fuses are good. Then I'm going to check all three of these relays. And I'm going to do that by simply swapping the relays. But you have to swap the same size, the same type of relay with another relay of the same size and type. So these two are the same. They're both 8385s. They both have the same part number. So I'm just going to take both of them out, swap positions, and then see if the blower motor works. If it does work, then I know I need a new relay. I'm also going to swap this one out, but there's not another one like that in this fuse box, but there is another fuse box on this car. And that's over on the passenger side. That's right here near the floorboard on the passenger side. It has a fuse symbol on it, and I simply remove that panel. It comes off pretty easy. And there's the relay that matches the other relay under the hood. It says it's the trunk relay, but it's the same number, the same part number. So I can swap those two out and see if that makes the fan blower come on. And do this with the engine off and the keys out of the ignition. So I'm just going to pull this one out. Now I'm going to take this one out and just swap positions. And be sure you put them back in the same way they came out. These went in like this, with this number oriented to the left. So I'm going to swap them around, push them firmly back in. Now I'm going to see if the blower motor turns on. Okay, fingers crossed. I'm going to turn the engine on. And the blower motor still doesn't work. So it's not that relay. Now I'm going to swap that other relay, the black one that was between the other two. I did the swap, put that back in, and now I'm going to try to see if the blower motor will work. And it still doesn't work. The fuses check out okay, the relays check out okay. So I feel like I have a problem with the actual blower motor or resistor. And when you replace one, it's a good idea to replace the other, just to make sure everything's okay. And I got both of these off of Amazon. To be sure I was getting the right parts, I went to a website that showed what the original GM parts were, what their original part number was, and I made sure that the parts I bought to replace them were suitable for replacing that original OEM part. And you don't need many tools to do this job. This is all that I used. A little short-handled ratchet with an extension on it. This one's flexible, but if you had just a solid extension on it, that would work too. And a short-handled one is a little better if you have one, just because your space is going to be limited where you're going to be working. I use this small flat-bladed screwdriver and this trim removal tool because there are 3 fasteners that you have to take off. There's a panel you have to remove in order to get to the blower motor and the resistor. And you could really do it all with just this flat-bladed screwdriver. And the main socket you'll need is a 5.5 millimeter. If you don't have one of those, a 7/32 will also work. They're very close in size. And you may or may not need this one, but I did. This is a 1/4 inch socket. The worst part of this job will actually be getting to the parts to remove them because they're under the glove compartment on the passenger side. This is where the blower motor is. So we're going to have to be laying down on the floorboard of the car on the passenger side to get to everything. But it can be done, and I can save myself a lot of money by doing it myself. So the first thing we have to do is remove this trim piece that covers the blower motor. And you do that by removing 3 fasteners. So just under the glove compartment, there's a fastener right here. And then we go on over, and there's a fastener here that has to come out. And just back from that one on the left is this one that will also need to be removed. So 3 fasteners. If you turn these around, you can see there's a little slot there, or you can get a tool up in there and pull the middle down. So you need to pull the middle section down. And I think I will use the flathead screwdriver for that. Just stick that in there and pop it down and pull that all the way down. And then I can use the trim tool to pop that off. So there's the first one. And what that does is allow this blower motor cover to drop down. And you can see there's a light attached there. So I twisted the light, and then I can pull the cover away and let the light hang down. So now we can get a look at it underneath here. There's the blower motor. And back here is the resistor. But before I remove either of these parts, I'm going to take off their wiring connectors. The connector for the blower motor is on the right side of it. And it just has a little tab right there. So you push down on that tab with one hand and then pull back, and the connector comes off. And then the wiring to the resistor is held on by this clip. You pull that out and down, and it comes off. That's the plug to the blower motor, and it's in line with the plug to the resistor. So now I'm going to remove the blower motor. And it's held on by 3 screws. And here's where we need the 5.5 millimeter socket. One of the screws is up here by this wiring bundle. The next one is right here, and there's one at the back right there. I'm going to start here at the back. You don't have a whole lot of room to work with your ratchet, but you'll gradually get it. There's one. And going for the second one. You can feel the motor wanting to drop down now. It's got a little weight to it. There's the second screw. I'm going to prop that up a little bit because it wants to fall down. The final one is up here underneath this section of wire. Finish that by hand, and the motor should drop down. It's got a little section of it underneath the wiring harness, but it should come out of there. There it goes. And there's the old motor, and there's the new one to the right of it. And they appear to be identical in size and where the connectors are, where the holes are, so I think we're good. And just to make sure, I reconnected the resistor and connected the plug to the new fan blower motor, and I'm going to turn the fan control on and see if that fan works. Yep, and there it goes. So the problem definitely was the fan blower motor. But I'm going to go ahead and replace the resistor. Apparently this resistor is working, but I'm going to just put a new one in and just have a completely new set that's going to last me a while. The interesting thing is on this resistor about how it's fastened in here. As you can see on this one, on the right side there's one screw, 5.5 millimeter, and on this end there's kind of a cap. At least there is for this model year. I'm pretty sure for some model years there were 2 screws. I'm going to take that screw off first. Got a little room to work with there. And that came down. And now to get that crazy one off of there somehow. Maybe just a flathead screwdriver would do it. Well, I found out the best way to get rid of that rivet over there is just to get a flathead screwdriver on the edge of it and just apply some force and it pops off. And what that leaves behind when you pry it off is 2 places for screws to go. And the replacement resistor kit did come with 2 screws, and that's why it does. So I just applied a little force on top of the resistor, pulling down, and that popped the rivet off. You probably could cut it off with a utility knife, but that would be kind of difficult really to get back in there and do that. So just prying it off works. Now I'm going to install the new resistor, and it goes in there like this, straight up. This will be facing you on the bottom. That's where the connection goes. This will not be easy to get to. I'm going to put the screw in over here first. The one that originally did have a screw on it. The resistor goes up there like that. I've got that screw started, and I'm gonna tighten that up. That's pretty tight. And you know, one screw might do it, but I wouldn't want to trust that. And it came with these two other screws, so they're meant to go on this side in a couple of those holes if I can get them lined up, which I'm sure I can eventually. I think that might be one. Yeah, if I can get one in the right place, I'll be happy. Turns out that needs a 1/4-inch socket. So I'm gonna get that going in as far as it can by hand, and then I can use the ratchet. Okay, I got that fastened in. Now I'm going to reconnect the wires to the resistor. Okay, that's back together. Now I'm going to put the blower motor on. And for the blower motor fasteners, we go back to the 5.5 millimeter socket. And the blower motor is going to be oriented like this with the connector to the right, and it also has a little tab pointing out to the right where that goes, where that points to. That screw hole there is the only one that has a little tab sticking out of the 3. I've got those screws partially fastened, and I'm going to put the wiring connector back on the new blower motor. This tab will be facing towards you when you reattach it. Push the connector in until the tab clicks into place, and now everything is wired back together. And I'm in the process of getting all the screws fastened down and getting the blower motor secured in place. Everything's installed and tightened up. Now one last test before I put the trim panel back on. Start the car, turn on the air conditioning, and I hear a fan. And now I'm going to put the trim panel back on. I put the light back in the panel first and twist it until it's tight, and then fit it back up into the underside of the dashboard. And the fasteners go in here, here, and down here. And then push the fasteners back in. The fasteners are back in, and everything's in great shape. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and may all your car parts last longer than they're supposed to.